How are you today? How many of you were here last week? Just type in to let me know. And just tell me yes or no if you were here last for the first session. I don't know if you're typing or not. I just wanted to know. Could you please just type in to let me know if you were here last week? I just need some feedback on that. Then I've got to figure out how to see it. Okay, I have one yes. Okay. Okay. I know that this, for the person that said yes, I know that this is one of the most difficult programs, the local employment dynamics. So we're going to go deeper. I was able to give a good overview last week, and for those of you that were not here, I think you missed a wonderful session, but you're going to be just fine. So when we go to census.gov, and census.gov always shows you what's top of mind. But for this particular program, in order to access it, you must go down to the bottom of the dark blue strip. Under business and industry, and as those of you that have looked at the census website for over a 10-year span, you'll know that this used to be on the top, so we put it on the bottom. And you go into local employment dynamics. And even though this program has a lot of different tools, and I do suggest that you use Mozilla. And today, let's see, I did not, but let me log into Mozilla. You can use Firefox, you can use Chrome, because of the graphics. It does take quite a bit. Of extra power in order to keep this program moving. So we started off with the Quality Workforce Indicators Explorer. And we start here because we're in the process of releasing economic data from the economic census, which is the largest business focused data collection of any kind that involves nearly 5 million businesses. And from that survey, we have the survey of business owners. So a lot comes out of that survey. So being able to look at what the industries are doing is one thing, and how many businesses there are based on industry. But when we get to look at some other workforce indicators down to the city level, that's when it becomes more personal, and that's what the Local Employment Dynamics program does. And as I said last week, this program involves all 50 states that share some information with the Census Bureau that they were very, very reluctant to share in the beginning. And many of the large chambers of commerce, when I made some of the early presentations, when we only had maybe 5 or 6 states, and when I was really talking about what's coming next, they did not believe this at all. They were very, very skeptical, and now they are the biggest users of these data. So I really want to spend some time uh, and looking at a number of the indicators. I skipped around last week in this program. And because this program produces a number of graphs and charts that can be used on a lot of different levels, many entrepreneurs can use this as a basis in their business plans as well as their strategic plans. So I demonstrated this last week, but this week I want you to feel comfortable that you can do the same thing. So we selected the state of Florida in the QWI Explorer. Let's think about it. This longitudinal employer household program has a number of different tools. And one of the tools is the Quality Workforce Indicators Explorer tool. And that's where we're going to start the same way we did on last week. And in this tool, I want to go through each of the indicators to show what the difference is in the data. I have been told that more up-to-date data will be loaded on within the next 2 months, so you always check back, because sometimes on our schedule of releases, things come back earlier, come in loaded on earlier rather than later, and then there's just no rhyme or reason. So you can't say, well, I'll just wait 2 months to come back. This is a program that you probably should, I would recommend spending about a half hour every day into it. You know, when you come in early, your morning coffee, this is a good program to stimulate your mind. So you see, when we look at the beginning of quarter counts and the end of quarter counts, what we're looking at when we look at, and then we look at stable counts, full quarter counts, because many times you're going to get, people are going to ask you a lot of different questions. And the question that they want to know when we look at these employment numbers in this program, are we talking about all people, the number of people employed, we're talking about a portion of the people. So if we want to look at everybody, then we want to look at a full quarter, and then that shows all full-time employees. And then we want to look at the changes in employment change. We're looking at all hires. When this particular indicator, when this first one says all counts, this shows new hires, it shows and recalls, so it has everybody included. What's really good if you're working with someone that's doing some research about the number of how many people are recalled in various industries, now you can do a recall count. And this is pretty new for this program. Then this talks about, it goes on to even show you turnover. So the program has greatly changed over time. And then employment change, because one of the things when we look at jobs, and as long as the market is the way it is, you're going to constantly ask questions about what jobs are going out. But what the benefit of this program is, it shows you not only job losses, but it shows you job gains and job creations in certain industries. So perhaps maybe manufacturing may be going out of an area, but something else is coming in. So this provides you with a tool to be able to pinpoint in what industry, what's going up and what's coming in. And this is really good for millennials that are job seeking. Also good for those persons that are going into trade schools or going into college, and they're looking at what's coming in, what's going out. I use this with my goddaughter, and she was, freshman and trying to decide what she wanted to do. So I said, well, let's look at it from a statistical standpoint. And she decided to go into healthcare, and she's graduating at the top of her class with her bachelor's, and she did wonderful, and she's just so excited about it. And then she tells everybody about the research that, quote unquote, she did to make her decision. So then we look at earnings, and that's looking at disparity in earnings across genders is always a huge part of the equation. It's just always just something that everybody looks at. Now you see on my screen that the only thing I put in was our state, Florida. Then I put in the indicator. I put beginning of quarter count, and I'm going to change that to full quarter. And I take a look at my screen and watch the changes. Wow. You see, when everything is taken into consideration, you can see how everything changed. If I want to, I can put in some sub-geography. In other words, instead of just looking at the entire state, I can look at individual counties. So I think we used Hillsborough County before. Let's look at Orange County, because this is a huge employer. So when I put in Orange County, the dynamic changes. And I can put in some industry. Let's scroll down to, when we think of Orange County, let's look at arts, entertainment, and recreation. Let's look at that industry. Now everything really does change. And if we wanted to, and now let me scroll up because to show you what quarters are available. And as you can see, wow, this is wonderful. Since last week, they loaded it on early. The 2014 data in quarters 1, 2, and 3 have been loaded. So you're looking at some very recent data in this industry. Now, let's look at some other groups. Here we're looking at age. So let's take a look at gender. Now it shows you the breakdown of employees in this particular sector, arts, entertainment, and recreation, by gender. And you can see how that has changed over time. When you look at the fourth quarter of 2011, which is at the top, statistically it's about the same. And then when you look, when we get to 2012, how that has changed. And coming forward, it's just an ebb and a flow. Then if we look at, in this particular industry, educational attainment, and we're looking at, think about it now, we're looking at Orange County, we're looking in the sector of arts, entertainment, and recreation. And as all of you know, in the North American industry classification system, the NAICS sectors, all employment, all businesses will fall up under one of these sectors, because all of these sectors have subsectors. And we get those in the economic census side of this. So as we're looking, let me scroll up. Our chart shows us what educational attainment is most employed. And here, and you'll see some college or an associate degree. And you can see those with a bachelor's degree are further down on the list. But you can see that in this particular industry, if you have less than you do not have a high school diploma, your chances for employment here in this particular sector in Orange County is going to be slim. If you have a high school diploma, you have some college or an associate degree, your employment chances in this particular sector will be easier. Now, let's take a look if we say get a report, and I'm going to download this into the PDF. I want to open it with Acrobat. Now we have a 2-page report that identifies where these data were extracted from. It shows the chart, and it shows the graph on the bottom. And it shows all the available quarters. And it provides you with some metadata. Now this can easily be slipped into a report, just as it is. There could be some cutting and pasting and used. It is just a wonderful tool that you can use. You can show somebody else to use, because all of the emphasis now is on jobs, job creation, where the jobs are, what are the basic qualifications, who's getting certain jobs in certain sectors. Now, this is Orange County, Florida. And it tells you, you can look at the trend, because we show this over time. And look at the dip. There was a dip all the way in 2012 first quarter, so we'd have to probably look at some other news reports to find out what happened in Orange County during the first quarter that caused this big dip. And then, as you can see now, everything is moving up. And if you want, you could also share this in social media, on Twitter as well as Facebook, because this may be some data that somebody really wants to share on social media, and to either start a conversation or to continue a conversation, or just to share in general. And this is all new, and all this is possible. Here, under our filters, we can also change some other characteristics. We can change some here, and we can change some here, where we're looking at gender and age, and race and ethnicity. And we can go here and to see if a certain ethnicity is being hired over another. And of course, if you know, based on federal standards, when we say ethnicity, and it's all the census surveys, we ask the question, are you Hispanic or Latino, yes or no? So we separate the stats out, because since Hispanic is not a race but an ethnic group, and Hispanics can be of any race. It can be white, black or African American, American Indian, Alaska Native, Asian, Native Hawaiian, other Pacific Islander, or multiracial. So we have white Hispanics, black Hispanics, American Indian Hispanics, Asian Hispanics, Native Hawaiian Hispanics, and multiracial Hispanics. So as you can see, that the employment levels in this particular sector, you can look at the numbers. And this will show you what percentage of people in that sector are of Hispanic origin. And this might fold into another report. And you see where the numbers are, and as well as the chart. And then you can also download the report the same way we did before. We may want to break it down by race. where we're looking at the 5 basic racial groups, and then 2 or more races. In census speak, this is what we call multiracial, but we classify it as 2 or more races. So you take a look. Now, think about it. When we look at these numbers, the Hispanic numbers are within these numbers. In other words, this is not non-Hispanic white, which is non-Hispanic white is a majority population. This is total white population that would include white Hispanics as well. So this will show you in this particular sector. And sometimes people request these kind of reports because they want to take a look at some type of EEO compliance or something else that they are making some comparison to about racial makeup of the workforce in certain sectors. Now we can also, and change this, we can change this to healthcare. And we're going to stay in Orange County and to see what employment is in healthcare in Orange County. Overall, healthcare is one of the largest employers in the state, but of course it varies by area. So now we're looking at the racial breakdown in the healthcare and social assistance sector in Orange County. Now take a look, and we looked at it before when we looked at the arts, entertainment, and recreation sector, that you did not have to have, it wasn't necessary to have a college degree in that sector. But let's look at in the healthcare and see if we see any changes. So when we look at our chart, we see again the top employer in Orange County in this sector, some college or associate's degree. But the second is a bachelor's degree. So that is an indicator to us that if you're going to go into healthcare, some college is required to have the better chance of getting a job in Orange County in this particular sector. And let's take a look at the gender breakdown. And I want to spend a lot of time on this because when you go back to your computers and you're working with this, so that you will be able to comfortably navigate this tool. And as you can see, this is a sector that has employment, the numbers are higher among women. So, and as you can see, it's a huge difference in the number of females as compared to males. So what does that bring to mind? We want to know about the earnings with that huge gap. So let's look at full quarter average monthly earnings. Wow. Did you just get the wow effect in the same way I did? Sometimes when I'm discussing this in groups and before I put something on the screen, they'll say, well, part of the problem is that the numbers are different. As you can see, there are a lot more females hired, but look at the disparity in the average monthly earnings. And look at the spikes, shows bonuses, spike in earnings and bonuses periodically. But for the females workers, it's almost flat line. So even though there are 3 times as many females employed, their average monthly earnings are far below in this sector in this county. Let me just stop to see if anyone had a question for me. Okay, no, okay. Just want to make sure. And just think now, we're looking at one county, and there are 67 counties in the state. So our ability to really do quite an analysis on earnings based on gender, based on age. Let's look at age. The 45 to 54 group, but right on their heels in this particular sector is the 55 to 64 group. So the bigger earners in this particular sector in healthcare in this county are between 45 and 64, and behind them are the 35 to 44. But as you can see, these periods, here's a period where it's kind of hard to tell the difference between the two groups. And then down here are the older groups. But as you can see, there's a disparity in earnings, a lot more females, and then you can see they're older. So. And let's look at race. And I put my cursor on this, okay. Asians. Then whites. And then people that are multiracial. Native Hawaiians are almost negligible, very small population in this part of the country. And then blacks. Very low in this sector as far as pay. So let's change counties and see how things change, if they do at all. Let's look at a smaller county, Pasco. And as you can see, in Pasco County, and the chart really shows this. You can scroll on the table, but I love the graph. Change to another county. And if you have a county that you want to explore in this sector, let me know, or as I'm going through these. Of course, Miami-Dade County has a huge Hispanic population. So when we go to ethnicity, we know that will show through. But even with that huge Hispanic population, non-Hispanics earn more than Hispanic population, where you have a county with close to 2 million people of Hispanic ancestry. So I wanted you to be able to see how easy it is to take a look. If we change the sector from healthcare, but healthcare because it's so huge in here. Let's look at finance. Let's take a look at new hires. Let's look at age. Because you would want to know what are your chances of getting employment in this sector. This is Miami-Dade County. We may look at another county. And I'm sure the 99 group is not working, but people between 65 and 74, many are still in the workforce. And look at the big spike here. And these are new hires. Let's change counties. We always look at a lot of our large counties. Look at Palm Beach County. Not a lot in this sector. Let's look at Jacksonville, Duval County, because they like to compete with the Charlotte Mecklenburg County, which is huge for finance. And look back in 2010 in finance, they were looking at older people probably between that 65 and 74-year-old group, and now 55 to 64 group. And look how the older group over time, so they're retiring, getting out of the business, coming down. And they're constantly going down, down. When you look at the number employed and how that has changed. We get out of finance and insurance. Professional, scientific, and technical services. We talk about STEM. And as you can see, here we had a spike in the 35 to 44 group. Let's look at Hillsborough County and see if we can get some changes. I wasn't fair to Duval because I had not cleared it of Miami-Dade. So let's see what Duval looks like by itself. Not any better. Not any better. And as you can see in finance, in professional, scientific, and technical, excuse me, older seems to be a little better. The 35 to 44 group, but the part of the millennial group, the older of the millennial group, they're in front of the other groups, but they have a ways to go. They're actually behind the people that have not retired, between that 65 to 74 gap here. So this does show you, and it shows you the number of new hires. But when you and their shows you their earning pattern is still low in comparison to the experienced worker. And that's another thing you can show. The people coming on, how are they faring out earning-wise? And as you can see, the higher earnings are at the 55 to 64 group in Hillsborough County in professional, scientific, and technical services. So when this also gives you another narrative on the millennials versus the boomer generation, because the 18 to 34 grouping versus the 50 and 50 to 70 group. So this can give you to show you that there is a spike. And here is where now the 45 to 54 are beginning, they're on the upward trend. As the 55 to 64, many of them are taking early retirement and are moving on to other careers. And I think that I feel more confident now that you can navigate this part of the tool. Did you feel confident that you could go into the tool? You could go into the Longitudinal Employee Household Dynamics program, go into the QWI Explorer, and actually pull up stats very easily. Now, I want to go back to on the map. And I was very pleased, and I did report to Washington that the tool worked well. If we know that in the tool, when we go into on the map, now we can go into different levels of geography. I want to put in, last week I used Tampa and I used Hillsborough County to show the number of jobs, a number of people that were employed in the area, in the city of Tampa as well as in Hillsborough County. And then how many people are coming outside of the city and the county for those jobs, how many people who live there have to leave there to work elsewhere, and then how many people who live and work there. Today I want to show you that you can do the same search and make these same reports by zip code. So we're going to use a zip code. I worked with a community organization last week, and they're trying to revitalize an area, and they said that people are poor, based on the stats, of course, and they need job creation. So I want to show them about the jobs within that zip code area that I was pretty familiar with. So I'm putting that zip code, 33150. And when I put in that zip code, a lot of different geographies will appear. And there is my zip code. And this map shows a huge area, and then it identifies the area that I searched for. Now I'm going to ask it, and then it tells me how many blocks in that area. And these are census blocks, not necessarily blocks the way we know it as lay people, but what's defined as a census block geographical area. And what this map also shows you, this is where the 33150 zip code is, and here's next to it is a 33147 zip code, and there's a 33136 zip code, and you see many of the main street features are there so that you can be able to navigate the area. So now we're going to ask it to perform an analysis on this selection area. This is a zip code. Now we're in the second tool. The first was our quality workforce indicator tool, and now we're in the on the map tool. And I did an overview, but I really want to get more detail because I want you to be able to realize that you can do far more with this tool. So the first thing we're going to look at is the home work area that determines where the selection area is analyzed on where people live or where workers are employed. So now we're going to first take a look at where people live. And what I want to take let's look at that first and see what it shows you. We're going to look at an area profile with a labor market segment, and we're going to tell it to go. Now, what this shows you is how many jobs are concentrated in a square mile area, and then the circles will show you how many jobs there actually are. One deals with square miles, and one deals with actuality of jobs. Then you also are shown a worker age. This is the analysis, that in this area, most of the people employed in this area are between 30 and 54. And as you can see, most of them earn between $1,251 to $3,333 per month. That's where most of this is the most of the salary is in this. So now here's our area. This is our 33150 zip code. And we showed you, see the little dots. This shows you how many jobs, per square mile. And then these little dots. Here's a larger blue dot here. This will represent about 105 to 245 jobs according to this. Here's one of those dots here. There's one here. There's one here, here, and then you have a job that's between 32 and 104 jobs are concentrated here, 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 and then you've got 1 to 4 jobs here, and you've got a lot of little dots. Then you've got a lot of little squares, and you could always enlarge this to zoom it. But let's just change the setting for a moment. And what we want to find out now in that area, let's look at the inflow and the outflow. Of jobs. Wow, look at this. We see that in our zip code area, in our target area, only 162 people that live in this zip code actually work in this zip code. More than 5,000 people who live outside of the zip code work in the zip code. And more than 8,000 people who live in the zip code work outside of the zip code. Wow. So as if someone asked the question to me, they're saying, so even if we create the jobs in the area, it looks like the people who live in the area may not get the job, because most of the workers who work in this zip code are from outside the area. And the people who live in the area have to go outside of the area for a job. And here's the analysis here. Only 1.9% of the people who live and employed in the selection area. And all this speaks to something that all of the cities and counties in Florida are working on, and that is traffic. How can we reduce traffic? And as you can see, there are a lot of people coming in every day into the zip code, and a lot of people leaving the zip code every day. And if you have a zip code that you want me to show before we close today, please key it in. But that's why this tool is so valuable. We can go back now and change the setting, because now we want to see the direction. Because now we're talking about traffic. How bad is it? So now you see where 68% of the people from home to work are less than 10 miles. And that's why sometimes the local traffic is just so jammed up. Almost 20% are from 10 to 24 miles. And what this particular chart shows is the direction. How many are going south, and it shows you the numbers. How many are going north, how many are going northwest, and this helps to understand the flow of the traffic. And almost every county in Florida is working on some type of transportation plan as it pertains to, a lot of people are getting contracts with the county and the state to work on this, and this helps them to do a solid directional analysis. Because now they can go into American Fact Find and look at American Community Survey data and get a whole demographic profile of this zip code, and then overlay that data with what they've actually found out on the map. And then download this wonderful report and just have unbelievable. And if you wanted to, we looked at the zip code. If you wanted to, you could overlay congressional districts in here. Look, they should, yeah. We could overlay congressional districts. We could overlay state legislative districts. That's the upper chamber, and these are state house districts. If we wanted to, we could put in census tracts. And as you can see, let me enlarge this so you can take a look at it. As you can see, the census tract numbers come up. So now you also have the census tracts that are contained within your targeted area. And you can get data now by census tract. State Senate House District and State House District. Here's the Senate District, clearly labeled. Let's enlarge some of this. So now you have a wonderful, wonderful analysis of a specific zip code area. And now this can complete your report. And of course, our here in Florida, and then I'm going to overlay this with, see, we can get a few of the workforce investment areas, the WIAs. And then it shows the career, where the career centers are. And here's one right here in the right in the middle of the zip code. And if we wanted to, we could put in our universities and our schools. And as you can see, there are schools in this area, and then they'll label the schools for us, but there are no universities in this area. So what a valuable tool. What an absolutely unbelievable valuable tool. And the one-stop career centers, and we have one here. Let's see if there's another one. Yeah. And this is a targeted, this particular zip code is a very heavily targeted, and as you can see, it shows you where the elementary and where the public schools are located within that zip code. In the state house, state senate districts, and we did do the congressional districts, and we could, some secondary roads are in there too, and as you increase this, and then you could load this, you can save this and print it out. It's just an unbelievable, valuable tool. You have my contact information, so don't get frustrated. Call me, because this can be, because we keep loading information on it, so it can be a lot to absorb. There are other tools, some extraction tools that I'll do in later webinars with you, but these two are the most utilized tools and the most beneficial. And as we move forward with the economic census data, then once you take a look at the economic census data, then you come over to this side to get some more details about those industries. It would give a very, very clear picture with wonderful tools and wonderful graphics. Are there any questions for me? You can just key in your questions if you have any, or just tell me I enjoyed it, or just tell me, wow, 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 I feel better about this. Oh, good, I see. I got your earlier comments. They're finally coming in. But let me know what you think about this at this stage. Oh, I got my first wow. Thank you. Is someone else? Give me some feedback. Tell me, say, I don't like this, Marilyn. It's not going to help me, or it is going to help me. I need to know that. We'll work with Vicki to make these relevant to you. It's a lot to absorb. Trust me. Thank you. Thank you. And I look forward to working with all of you. because we're going to have a lot more fun as the economic census data. We have a new data tool that's coming out with that. We're beta testing it now. We hope to roll it out this fall. We're working some things out, and just let Vicki know what other things that you think that we should be doing in these webinars. But I want to bring this to your attention. Very few people, for whatever reason, use it. Only, you know, highly technical. But I think because it's a good base tool that everybody can learn. You know, it's one of those technical tools that's really easy once you get the instruction from it. And as we change it, we'll come back in and go back through it. Thank you for your time and your attention, and I love all of you, and if you need any help, call me because I may be in your area so I can drop by. Take care. Bye-bye. Have a wonderful week.